Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the most pressing stories of our time. I'm your host, Walter, and I'm glad you're joining us today. As we begin this episode, a somber mood has settled over the nation following the tragic assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. The incident has sent shockwaves across the country, sparking widespread condemnation and raising concerns about the escalating violence in American politics. As we explore this developing story, it's essential to acknowledge that Charlie Kirk was a prominent figure known for his passionate advocacy and engagement with young Americans on various issues. His death has been met with an outpouring of grief and tributes from across the political spectrum, with many remembering him as a devoted patriot who inspired countless individuals through his work. However, the circumstances surrounding his assassination have also sparked intense debate and reflection about the current state of our national discourse. Many are pointing to the growing polarization and the erosion of civil dialogue in American politics, which they believe has contributed to an environment where violence becomes more likely. House Speaker Johnson has spoken out about the need for leaders to promote calm and unity in the face of this tragedy, invoking President Abraham Lincoln's appeal to the nation's better angels. Meanwhile, others are calling for a more nuanced examination of the factors that may have led to this event, including the role of social media, political rhetoric, and the increasing divisions within our society. We've also seen discussions about the potential implications of Charlie Kirk's assassination on the security measures for public figures and the legislative branch. The White House has announced a $58 million request to Congress to enhance security for the executive and judicial branches, while House GOP leaders are evaluating options to ensure resources are available for lawmakers' residential and personal security. As we navigate this complex and sensitive topic, it's crucial to approach the conversation with empathy, respect, and a commitment to understanding different perspectives. We'll continue to follow this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. In our next segment, we'll delve deeper into the ongoing discussions about political violence, its causes, and potential solutions. We'll hear from experts, policymakers, and individuals affected by these issues, seeking to shed light on the path forward for our nation. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're halfway through today's episode, and we're diving into a complex and emotional topic that has been at the forefront of American politics. As your host, I want to assure you that we'll be exploring this story with fairness and balance, presenting the facts as they are, without taking a side or promoting any agenda. Today, we're examining the impact of immigration policies on families and individuals. The story we're about to share is a heart-wrenching one, and it's essential to approach it with empathy and understanding. It's about a family who was torn apart due to circumstances beyond their control, and the consequences they faced as a result of policies implemented by the Trump administration. According to reports, Richard, a father and husband, was taken into custody by ICE officers during a routine check-in at a federal office in Ohio. The reason for his detention was not due to any criminal activity, but rather a mishap with their schedule, which was not their fault. Despite the family's pleas to self-deport together, Richard was handcuffed and taken away, leaving behind his wife, Ellen, and their young daughter, Jessica. The details of this story are disturbing, and it's crucial to acknowledge the human cost of such policies. The emotional trauma experienced by this family, particularly the young child, is something that no one should have to endure. As we explore this topic further, it's essential to consider the broader context and the motivations behind these policies. It's reported that the Trump administration, with the guidance of top advisor Stephen Miller, has been pushing for stricter immigration enforcement, including higher arrest and deportation numbers. While some argue that these measures are necessary for national security and border control, others contend that they lead to inhumane treatment of families and individuals who are seeking a better life. As we continue to examine this story, it's crucial to remember that immigration is a complex issue with multiple perspectives and opinions. We'll be discussing the implications of these policies and the potential consequences for those affected. It's also important to note that every modern president has implemented harsh immigration enforcement measures, and heartbreaking decisions are often made. However, What sets this story apart is the apparent disregard for the human cost of these policies. According to sources, Stephen Miller has been known to belittle the emotional appeals of immigrant families, referring to them as sob stories and emotional blackmail. This response has raised concerns about the compassion and empathy displayed by those in power. As we conclude this segment, it's essential to acknowledge that this story is not an isolated incident. There are countless families and individuals who have been affected by these policies, and their experiences deserve to be heard and considered. We'll continue to explore this topic in future episodes, seeking to understand the complexities of immigration and the human impact of policy decisions. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Good evening, and welcome back to Concrete Block. I'm your host, Walter. As we wrap up today's show, we're going to take a look at some significant investments being made by U.S. finance firms in Britain just ahead of President Donald Trump's state visit. According to reports from the Straits Times and other sources, American finance companies such as PayPal, Citigroup, Bank of America, and S&P Global are planning to invest a total of $1.25 billion in Britain. This investment is expected to create around 1,800 jobs in various cities across the UK, including London, Edinburgh, Belfast, and Manchester. Now, let's take a closer look at some of these investments. Citigroup, for example, will be investing $1.1 billion across its British operations, with a significant portion going towards growing its presence in Northern Ireland. Bank of America, on the other hand, will be creating up to 1,000 jobs in Belfast as part of its first-ever operation in Northern Ireland. These investments are being hailed by British Prime Minister Keir Starmer as a confirmation of Britain's place as a leader in global finance. The UK government has also emphasized that these investments will firmly establish Belfast as a major technology powerhouse. It's worth noting that President Trump's upcoming visit to the UK is expected to focus on boosting transatlantic economic ties. The British government has announced that King Charles III and other royals will be hosting President Trump in Windsor, and he will also be meeting with Prime Minister Starmer during his visit. As we consider these developments, it's essential to remember that international investments and diplomatic visits can have complex implications for the economies and relationships involved. We'll continue to monitor these stories and provide updates as more information becomes available. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.